All right, it's PDL Season 4, Week 4, and we're taking on the Mr. Steal Your Ho-Oh Is, coached by your mother. I don't know, guys. It's a Discord draft league. These things happen. It's an interesting team. Definitely pretty well-rounded, like a few of the teams we faced so far. Solid Fire, Water, Grass core, Inhedran, Sarina, and Rotom Wash. A lot of winged creatures with interesting support move pools. Tropius, of course, having access to Tailwind. I think it gets Wide Guard. Yeah, it does. Altaria having Will-O-Wisp, Cotton Guard, probably also Tailwind. It can even Perish Song. It can be a very disruptive Pokemon for sure. Frostmoth gives them another Tailwind Pokemon, another Wide Guard Pokemon. Honestly, I don't know why they have all three. They might be cooking something that I haven't thought of. But those are all very strong support pieces around the basic Fire, Water, Grass core. They can also do Trick Room stuff with Mimikyu. Mimikyu can be a reasonably strong attacker. Either way, Disguise gives it some good survivability. It can pretty much complement a lot of different kinds of teams pretty well. And obviously they can do a slower, bulkier mode around stuff like Heatran and Rotom with that. Dedenne is actually a low-key interesting support Pokemon. Your mother has been talking a lot in the Discord. I could stop that sentence there, but no, your mother's been talking a lot about Dedenne as a speed control option into fast offensive threats because it can spread paralysis with Discharge or Nuzzle, so I'll have to keep that in mind. And Cheek Pouch can give it a bit of durability alongside bulky partners like, well, most of the rest of this team. Slitherwing is obviously a strong physical attacker, which is something that their team doesn't have much in the way of otherwise. I feel like Slitherwing is not the most difficult Pokemon to play around. I mean, a lot of its appeal is in first impression, but obviously it gets which you can protect around, but obviously it gets strong attacks apart from that, and an interesting middling speed tier, which, you know, if I bring a fast team, they could take advantage of in Trick Room, stuff like Leech Life, Close Combat. So Slitherwing rounds out Slitherwing gives their team a dimension that it doesn't otherwise really have, and makes it full of scary offensive threats as well as defensive threats. Of course, Heatran can also hit very hard. Sarina can hit reasonably hard. Rotom's no slouch. And then Electric, I guess, is probably pretty bulky with Eviolite. It can do Coil. It can also try to spread paralysis. It gets screens. U-turn, Volt Switch. I don't know that it gets Eerie Impulse. I don't know that I'm especially an Acid Spray. Okay, Electric actually gives them a lot of tools that they don't necessarily have otherwise, and it's pretty solid in an untiered slot. And then I'm going to assume they have the good Shellos. I didn't check the replays for that, but I don't know what Shellos does for this team. It doesn't seem like a team that especially needs Storm Drain. I mean, it can be nice for Heatran if you don't terrestrialize that, but I don't know. I mean, Shellos is probably the Pokemon sitting at the end of their bench, while the rest of these guys come in some well-rounded combination to wear an opponent down. And before we get into what I'm bringing to this matchup, I do want to talk a little bit about the state of the team at this point in the season. We're heading into the halfway point. I believe the season is only 8 weeks, unless the doc has misled me. And obviously this is week 4, so we'll be halfway done after this one. There are 18 teams in the league, and I believe there are only 8 playoff spots. So already with 2 losses in the first half of the season, we're in rough shape. I think one more loss, just one, can kill our playoff chances, and 2 more losses certainly will do it. I haven't crunched the numbers on that, but that seems like a good estimate to me. So, I mean, to some extent, the situation is what it is. You drafted an intentionally weird team, and sometimes, probably most of the time, that doesn't work out. But I think there also are some issues with how I'm using the team, and there also may be things that I can do to fix the construction of the team over the course of the season. Or not to completely fix it, but to improve it. And so, other than winning the matchup in front of me, my goals for this week are also to properly take stock of what I have, really examine this team used the way that I built it to be used, consider changes to the team going forward in the season, and try to sort of break the tunnel vision that I think I had in the last couple of weeks, where I was trying to win games with Urshifu, when really this team should be putting its pieces together in a more coherent, better rounded way. Therefore, I've gone back to basics in how I built for this week. One other thing, I'd like to include the team's records just for a little bit of flavor. I don't know whether the Mr. Steal Your Ho-Oh have played all of their games. I could only find 2, so this record might not be accurate. We'll hopefully the doc will be fixed with accurate records soon. Anyway, so I've gone back to basics with this team. I have the first 6 Pokemon I drafted. I didn't deliberately choose this week I'm going to use the first 6 Pokemon I drafted, but I do like that my read of the matchup landed me there, because these 6 I drafted with the idea that they could be a solid unit together. We're also going back to some of the strategies that I thought about when I was drafting the team, but have not really explored yet over the course of the season. I find that sometimes I draft a Pokemon because, it can do so many things. This has happened in all 3 seasons in this league. It can do so many things, but then I tunnel vision into certain ones, and interesting ideas that I had in the draft fall by the wayside. And I don't want that with this team. I want this team to be one that I can use in fresh and interesting ways week by week. So this is the first week that I'm actually bringing the special spread normal spam with Boomburst Noivern next to Hyper Voice, Hisui, and Zoroark. Normal type attacks are reasonably good into your mother's team. Obviously, Heatran resists before it terastallizes, although Heatran is a very obvious Terra pick in a lot of matchups, so I might have to worry about this, I might not have to, and Mimikyu is immune. But otherwise, normal types get off strong neutral hits into the rest of this team. I do have to watch out for Wide Guard from Tropius or Frostmoth, but I have Air Slash on Noivern to get off a strong hit into a weakness from either of those guys. I have Shadow Ball on Zoroark, nicely complementing the normal coverage, hitting Mimikyu hard once I've broken its disguise, getting a neutral hit into Heatran. I just think it's time that I finally try this duo together and see what they're actually capable of. Noivern also has Tailwind to give me some extra speed control, and Zoroark also adds to the speed control with Taunt, so that to prevent Mimikyu from setting up Trick Room unless it has a Mental Herb. One other thing that I actually should have noted when I talked about how I'm reevaluating the team this week, and I'm playing this set with a mind to what I can or should change going forward into the second half of the season, is remember that this team has very restrictive rules for free agent swaps. I can trade any Pokemon on my roster to any other coach. That's completely allowed. Obviously, it's hard to pull off because you need something mutually agreeable within the structures of the team building rules in this league. But if I wanted to swap something out for a free agent, there are only 4 slots on my roster that I can make that swap from, and it means that the only Pokemon that I can swap out are Zoroark, Noivern, Blissey, and Psyduck. So my ability to quickly and easily make changes to improve my roster is limited to getting rid of one or more of those. And I bring that up in the context of bringing my Zoroark, Noivern, Hyper Voice, Boomburst combo, because if I do decide that changes are needed to turn this team or season around, very likely one or both of these guys has to go. Therefore, it's important to see what I have with them right now. I don't know, you can see I have Terra Normal on Zoroark, Terra Normal on Noivern. Either one of them can strengthen their attacks. Urshifu is here with a simple offensive set to clean things up. Lumberry will free it from paralysis from Dedenne or Electric, or a burn from Mimikyu, or paralysis or a burn from Rotom. Any one of those, it can shrug off one time and keep getting off strong hits. Obviously, Dark and Fighting are very good coverage into pretty much any team, but that includes this one. With Wicked Blow, I don't have to worry about Cotton Guard Altaria unless it goes Terra Fairy or something, because the guaranteed critical hit will bypass the defense boosts. Obviously, Sucker Punch won't work while Serena is around, but my team with Noivern Tailwind, with a couple of ways to deal with Trick Room. My team should be able to have the speed control advantage as it is. So, Sucker Punch is here for contingencies, but hopefully just firing off Wicked Blow in close combat is enough. I actually don't remember whether I chose a Terra type for Urshifu. I can't think of a reason I would have chosen fighting. I might have neglected to change that. I think I'm gonna make it Terra Dark, like I have been doing the last few weeks, just to get off the strongest possible Wicked Blow, because I think that just gives me the most value in the most situations. Obviously, Dedenne resists all of my Urshifu's attacks. That's another thing to keep in mind. But there are other ways to remove that. Then I've got my basic Assault Vest Quillfish. I like Quillfish in this matchup because it gets off Intimidate into Sarina and Slitherwing. With Terra Grass, it can check Dedenne, it can check Electric. With Poison coverage, if I don't it can check Rotom. With Poison coverage, if I don't Terrastalize it, it's a threat into Terra Grass Heatran, or if they don't Terrastalize their Heatran, then I can get it with water coverage. So Quillfish is all around a pretty solid thing to throw at the opposing team. This is the typical Quillfish role that I use. It's just here to be bulky with Intimidate and an Assault Vest and check a lot of things. I went with Acid Spray in the 4th slot to potentially set up for Zoroark, Noivern, or even Uxie to hit harder. So Quillfish can also complement its teammates in that way, but it's mostly just here as a utility check to certain threats. Right. Uxie with Trick Room Imprison is another answer to opposing Trick Room. So if the Mimikyu has a Mental Herb, there's very little that one can do then to prevent it from setting up Trick Room. But Uxie with Trick Room Imprison is one thing that definitely can work. Obviously, Uxie has to survive, but it's a very bulky Pokemon. And with Terra Fairy, it's no longer weak to Mimikyu's ghost attacks. I also can set up my own Trick Room if I think the situation calls for it, even though obviously I've mostly built this to outspeed their team. Mystical Power, we know if Uxie gets a chance to set up a couple of Mystical Powers, which it might do next to harder hitting teammates that are higher priorities for an opponent to remove, then Uxie can actually hit pretty hard with no investment itself. And then finally, Orthworm. I'm kind of going back to the original reason, original primary reason I drafted Orthworm, which is just to have a Steel type to throw at fairies. I mean, your mother's only fairy type by default is Dedenne, and Dedenne is a very serious check to Urshifu, but I'm not especially worried about what it does to my other offensive threats, or to Uxie, which doesn't especially care about being paralyzed, obviously beyond the chance to not move. And Dedenne is a threat to Quillfish, but not if I Terrastalize it. So I'm not that worried about Dedenne, but obviously when I have a team that's to some extent centered on Single Strike Urshifu, and I've brought game plans centered on Single Strike Urshifu 2 weeks in a row now, random Terra Fairy something is a threat to take seriously. And so Orthworm, obviously Quillfish to an extent helps to cover that, but so does Orthworm. I brought Heavy Slam and Body Press so that it can get off hits into some things. Max Defense means Body Press is pretty strong. Terra Fire means that it has less to fear from Heatran, which I think could plausibly be Terra Fairy in this matchup, as well as stuff like Sarina and Mimikyu. No, Mimikyu's probably using Ghost attacks, so it's mostly for Heatran. And of course with Earth Eater, we don't have to worry about Earth Power from Heatran. I don't have a game plan centered on Shed Tail for Orthworm this time, but it seemed like a useful move to tack on in case I find some value in it at some point in the matchup. You know, getting any one of these three behind a substitute gives them that little bit more wiggle room to just throw off a strong Hyper Voice or Boom Burst or Wicked Blow, which is where a lot of my damage is expected to come from in this matchup. So Orthworm is probably one of the Pokemon that I'm less likely to bring, especially to Game 1, but really even later in the set. And I don't have any game plan built around Shed Tail, but it's a good tool to have available. So that's the team. To some extent, I just picked threats that I think are strong into this matchup and that complement the pieces, the offensive pieces that I'm focusing on. But I'm also going back to some of the original ideas that I had in mind when I drafted this team. The normal spam, the Urshifu just hitting stuff, with complementary bulky pieces helping them close things out. And if this doesn't work, then that would be a pretty strong indicator that there are some fundamental flaws in this team and that I need to make some changes. Either way, I have been thinking about some changes already. I'm not going to say what they are in this video, but I'm looking to come out of this matchup, win or lose, with a clearer mind to actually deciding what the future of this roster will be going forward in the season. And again, it starts with whether Zoroark and Noivern are the best A-tier picks for this team, given that they're the Pokemon that I can most easily swap out for other things that are strong. Obviously, I can get something decent for Blissey. Psyduck doesn't really get me anything good. But that's the plan. Back to basics, reevaluate the roster, and just try to beat this balanced, well-rounded team here. I think we'll be playing tomorrow, so I'll stop the recording for now, and we'll see how it goes. We're back. I've tweaked my mic settings a tiny bit, hopefully for the better. We're not actually playing your mother. I forgot to change my trainer again. We're not actually playing your mother. This team has 2 coaches, and so either one of them can choose to play any given week. And after some last-minute scheduling mix-ups, we've gotten the other coach. Finally, I am, for the very first time, using the best of 3 tick box that went live on Showdown just today. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work. It seems very convenient for competitions like this. Okay, so they've brought Heatran, Mimikyu, Rotom, Slitherwing, Dedenne, and Sarina. So they got both of their answers to normal spam, which are 2 of their best Pokemon. I mean, it's kind of foreseeable. Earthworm's not bad here. Well, yeah, Earthworm's not too bad here. I was kind of imagining I'd bring normal spam and, like, Urshifu and Quillfish. I don't mind lead Quillfish here either. How much do I care about speed control? 46. 68. Okay, I don't need to set tail... Unless I have a scarf on something, which I won't know about yet, I don't need to set Tailwind. Unless... I'm gonna go... Zoroark, Earthworm, Urshifu, Quillfish for game 1. You know, I didn't think about what to disguise Zoroark as. Quillfish is actually a pretty bad choice because Intimidate doesn't go off. This is a pretty safe Terra Shedtail if I want it. Earthworm's in a bad spot if I don't Terra, so I could also hit the Mimikyu and Heavy Slam into the Mimikyu. I'm actually gonna or I could taunt the Mimikyu. I'm gonna Shadow Ball, Terra, Heavy Slam, and just try to get rid of Mimikyu turn 1. Let's see. Heatran Protect. Shadow Ball breaks the disguise. Heavy Slam. Okay, they taunt Earthworm. A little unfortunate, but hey, it means that if I'd gone for Shedtail, it wouldn't have worked, so I guess I made the right play. And we got rid of Mimikyu. Okay. That's their main support piece off the board. Obviously, they might have brought Dedenne, which is one of the faster Pokemon in this matchup. Earthworm can't protect if they go Rotom. I didn't bring Noivern. Obviously, one of their normal... Well, their one normal immunity is down. They only have their normal resist left. So I can start going for Hyper Voice, but I didn't bring Noivern to pair it with Boom Burst, which is fine. They do go Rotom. What do I want to do here? I could switch to Quillfish. Obviously, if it takes an electric attack, that's a problem. Hyper Voice. I can Shadow Ball. I'm gonna Hyper Voice. Try to get the Throat Spray boost. They could KO Zoroark here, but we'll give it a go, and I'll switch to the real Quillfish. And that way I can get Orthworm back in a safer position, not taunted. Okay. Decent damage into Rotom. But gets hit hard back. They probably KO it here. They do. Okay. And they burn Quillfish. That's not good. That's pretty unfortunate. Do I even still have a path to winning this game? Holy moly. Well, I'm gonna go Urshifu. The Lumberry, if they go for a... So I can double into the Heatran, right? Quillfish is slower than Heatran. I can go for close combat into Heatran. I'm gonna... If I double into the Heatran, what I'm thinking is the Lumberry will protect me from one status move from the Rotom. Or I can just try to hit the Rotom right now. Then what do I do about the Heatran? Orthworm is strong into Heatran. I'm gonna hit the Rotom. And I'll double into it just in case. Am I gonna double into the... Yeah, oh well. If this goes into an immunity from Heatran, that's not the end of the world. Okay, they switch to Slitherwing. Rotom takes big damage, but heals some of it off. It just goes for Thunderbolt again. Interesting. I'm wary of a first impression here, so I'm going to detect. Quillfish resists first impression and also is burned, so how valuable is it really? Let's just see if we can poison the Slitherwing. Yeah, okay. Oh, well, huh. I think I think game one is looking pretty grim here, folks. Yeah, and that resists Urshifu stabs too. Alright. We're gonna Wicked Blow the Rotom and Heavy Slam the Slitherwing. Urshifu goes down. Slitherwing doesn't take all that much damage. To play this out, I guess. Think about game two. I think I'm just gonna go normal spam in game two. If they lead Heatran Mimikyu again, well, we do what we can. We have the tools to get rid of Mimikyu quickly. What do I do about this Heatran in game two? I'll probably bring the same... Well, not the same 4 Pokemon, because I'm planning to bring Noivern. I probably bring Urshifu and Quillfish in the back, right? Quillfish is still strong into Slitherwing. Somewhat strong into Heatran, although that burn was unfortunate. It's obviously unlikely to happen again. Northworm is taking so much damage here. So, yeah, we lose game one. But we're going to try to bring it back. I'm ready. Oh, I understand. Well, we'll get the replay first. I'm on a timer for game two? My computer is upset that I'm asking it to grab this replay. There we go, we got it. Okay, I'm ready. What? Best of 3 battles can't be started, but we already started, so we should be fine, right? Pokemon Showdown crashed? What is happening? I think the best of 3 failed. Damn, I was excited for this new feature. This is my first time using it. And, it doesn't seem to have worked out. We might just have to do it manually again. Alright, I'm gonna refresh. I'm gonna have to challenge again. I'll just do a best of 1 challenge because we've already played game 1. I guess I could send another best of 3 and we could just... If it goes to game 3, we just know better. But let's just do it the old-fashioned way this time. Okay. And then I'll send the game 3 challenge. Oh, whoops. Come on, buddy. Except game 3. What a letdown. I mean, I don't know why it happened. I haven't heard of the feature not working for other people, so that's probably not... It's probably not that it's broken. And I'll get other chances to use it in the next while. But... Just a bit unfortunate is all. Are they going to accept? We can just play game 2 and... I mean, I guess it doesn't matter at this point. They didn't lead Rotom. Interesting. Do I want to Terra right away? Or, I mean, they didn't lead Mimikyu. They did lead Rotom. The Heatran is a problem. What do I have on Noivern? Okay, I'm just gonna Hyper Voice Boom Burst. Any button clickers? Hey, I guess they have to take seriously that it might really be Urshifu. Maybe if this goes to a game 3, I really do bring Urshifu. That is doing less damage than I hoped. I'm not gonna lie, folks. I guess Terra Normal was the move. Probably on... Whoa. Oh, no, Noivern. Terra Grass. If I Terra Grass Quillfish here, I probably have... Well, I might have to take a fire attack, but... Probably more afraid of the... Well... I'll Shadow Ball the Rotom, and I am going to Terra Grass. Am I? What have on this? Fighting? Didn't I change it to dark? I didn't. I restored the team from a backup, and I didn't change it to dark in the backup. Well, what a week, folks. I'm gonna tear grass. I'm gonna poison jab the Heatran. Simple, attacking what's in front of me. Let's go. Let's get him. Protects, fair enough. Rotom tanks the Shadow Ball. And we just have the real Urshifu in the back. Let's detect and let's go for another poison jab. Okay. Okay. Sucker Punch, Rotom, Aqua Jet, Heatran. Will they be KO'd? Rotom goes down. Heatran goes down. Okay. 2-on-2 now in game 2. What do you got? Slitherwing? Mimikyu? Okay. Slitherwing is a... We know the Slitherwing... Actually, I'd probably just lose to Slitherwing at this point. Especially if it has first impression. We're going to play the... hope they don't have first impression game. Because I don't really see a way I beat that set. Because if I don't detect Urshifu here, they probably just get off a play rough or something and knock it out. And I don't think Quillfish solos. There's the play rough. They didn't go for first impression. Quillfish breaks the disguise, gets the poison. U-turn knocks it out. Yeah, I think this is doomed, folks. We don't even KO the Mimikyu. And that's it. All right, 1-3. I might not have been cooking with this team. Unfortunately, this is easily our worst start to a PDL season yet. Yeah, I got them. I don't even know if I'm going to make changes to the team at this point. Like I said, I think yesterday, there's not that much flexibility. But this isn't working. So I guess we'll wait and see next week whether I've made any changes. I'm going to have to think about it off camera. But for now, that's it. Week 4. See you next time.